Mitch Marner seems to be in a rather questionable position with the Toronto Maple Leafs, as he is ready to explore his options after the disappointing playoff exit. Now that he is hitting free agency, there are a couple of teams out there that have emerged as clear favourites to land Marner, as inside reports state that there are as many as 8 NHL teams interested in his services. Where will Marner end up? And more importantly, what are the teams ready to give up for his services? There is no doubt about it. The Maple Leafs falling short in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs has hurt their chances of retaining the superstar Mitch Marner. It seems like he is prepared to leave the city of Toronto and explore a list of up to 8 teams through free agency. Marner is still under contract with the Maple Leafs, but another early playoff exit has definitely messed up the chemistry between these two. The general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving, acknowledged that changes may be needed, stating that the DNA of the team needs to evolve. It's a clear indicator that the team comes first, and we shouldn't put anyone above the need of the squad, which is why they could force a trade sooner rather than later. Marner was on the brink of being traded to Vegas last summer. However, he decided to stay in Toronto, where he put together his best season to date. Unfortunately, scoring 102 points in 81 regular season games and 13 points in 13 postseason games was not enough to make a deep playoff run. So the primary question that emerges now is, where are we going to see the winger play from the next season onwards? One of the top candidates to land him are the Vegas Golden Knights and the Los Angeles Kings. It seems like a discussion has already been held between both sides, where the Leafs have received an offer for the services of Marner. And people close to him stated that he doesn't want to stay in Canada. His plans are to leave the country completely, which rules out all 7 Canadian NHL teams. It's a massive shift in the narrative of Marner, because he's played in Toronto for the entirety of his career. So, if you are changing your environment, what are you precisely going to do? Either go big or go home, which is precisely why Marner is now believed to be talking with the Los Angeles Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights at the same time. Both of these teams are playing in the Western Conference and have enormous fan bases that are particularly excited to hear the news that Marner is related to their teams. If we are to look at Los Angeles, we can see why they might pursue a trade a bit more aggressively than we're used to. Their team was knocked out very early in the 2025 postseason. This means that a player like Marner, who is desperately looking for a change of environment, will help them massively in the deep playoff runs from the next season onwards. But when you have Marner on the trade block, you tend to understand that he'll be drawing interest from a lot of other teams out there. Elliot Friedman, a well-known reporter in the world of hockey, suggested that teams like the Anaheim Ducks and the Florida Panthers could attract the attention of Mitch as well. The Ducks are considered to be a young team that is looking for the presence of a proven winner, and in terms of longevity, they are definitely the best long-term option for Marner. On the other hand, the Florida Panthers have had a deep playoff runs recently, and they are strong rivals of the Maple Leafs. So, if Mitch wants to prove the Toronto team wrong, the Panthers would be offering the perfect platform for that. The final decision will come very soon, but the talented winger is more or less certain to leave his current squad, despite not making any public comments yet. The front office of the Leafs has also stayed quiet, not wanting to add fuel to what is already considered to be a massive fire. After years of ups and downs with the team and a couple of early playoff exits, one thing is clear: Mitch Marner might be on the move, and from all the teams available, we need to see who would win his heart and soul. Dave Pagnotta wrote about this situation, and when talking about the 7 or 8 teams that Mitch is looking at, he stated loud and clear that the favourites are Vegas and Los Angeles. According to him, Marner has his eye on some strong markets out there, with both Los Angeles and Vegas making the top of the list thanks to the big fan bases, team structures, and the spotlight that he is looking to enjoy. As I mentioned earlier in this video, it's a drastic shift in his NHL career because he will be moving to the other side of the continent and playing in another conference. but for a player of his caliber, maybe this is precisely what he needs. And when we say big market, we definitely mean it. The value of the Vegas Golden Knights is estimated at $1.85 billion. Even though Pagnotta said that they are the leaders to sign Mitch, the NHL insider Chris Johnston doesn't believe that they are the top candidate for Marner's services. When talking about this during the Chris Johnston show, the host said, "You can never take Vegas out of any major sweepstakes because of the DNA of the franchise and obviously the history of moves that we can point to. But when I look at this free agent class, I think it's more likely we see Vegas land a Florida Panthers pending free agent in Sam Bennett rather than pursuing Mitch Marner. Somehow, there seems to be this notion that they are the favourites. I wouldn't call them the favourites to land Mitch Marner. I think Vegas might be swinging harder for Bennett than Marner if both of those players end up going to free agency. As we already stated, there are a bit more teams that are in play for the signature of Mitch Marner than the ones we've gone through. One of them is the San Jose Sharks, a team that is perceived as a very active one on the trade market. A team source told the side that they are observing the Marner situation very closely as they view a vital rebuilding piece in the services of Marner. Another very important squad that we shouldn't ignore is the Columbus Blue Jackets. They are willing to add veterans to guide the younger players, ones they have plenty of on their roster. Imagine how young your team needs to be if you consider Marner, aged 27, to be a veteran. An executive from the Eastern Conference said that while being very young, the skill and leadership of Mitch make him a great candidate to join the Blue Jackets. But we stated the primary wish of Marner: join a high-profile market and break through from Toronto and the entire Eastern Conference scheme. This is why teams like Vegas and Los Angeles are leading the fight to sign the extremely popular winger. But what's so big about them that could draw Marner's attention? At the end of the day, we must not underestimate the greatness of the Vegas market. This gives you a very good position to negotiate with players. If you are a small market team, you might be forced to give up a bit more than usual when players of such calibers are entering free agency. But nevertheless, we must understand how big of a trade this could be for the NHL, because it's inevitably going to cause tectonic shake-ups among the teams in both conferences. With all this in mind, what do you think about the trade that could be happening between Mitch Marner and the Western Conference competitors? And more importantly, which team do you think he will call home from the next season onwards? Let us know in the comments below.